it going, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite aviation channel. Today I am super excited to present to you all the 7th new model airport this summer, and as you can tell by the title, today we are doing Newark Liberty International Airport Terminal B. I forget who exactly requested this diorama, but I did receive a request a couple weeks back to try out Newark Terminal B, and I was really excited to give this a try because Newark Terminal B has a pretty interesting setup. One that might seem a bit familiar to some of you if you've watched some of my other airport updates, but Newark Terminal B's got quite the nice little setup here, and I got like 95% of the terminal here. There's a little part of it that is missing, unfortunately, but the vast majority of the terminal I do have replicated here, and I'll show you all the entire setup in a few moments. This will be, unfortunately, the last airport update for a couple weeks. As you're watching this, I'll actually be in New York. I'm actually filming this on Wednesday night. Technically, it's like, what is it, 12 a.m.? It's like 12:45 a.m. on Thursday morning. I just got home from work, and so I just decided to get this update filmed as soon as I could because I'm probably not going to have enough time later in the day. I'm going to be leaving for Chicago later today, and then tomorrow I fly out from O'Hare to New York, and I'll be in New York for 2 weeks. So, of course, with me being in New York, I won't be here to physically film this update, so I'm just pre-recording it a couple days in advance, and I'll be uploading this video from New York. So yeah, no airport updates unfortunately for the next 2 or so weeks, but I'll see what happens going forward from there, but plenty of awesome videos to make up for that. So this hopefully this is a good enough final airport update for a couple weeks. I think I did a pretty decent job on Newark Terminal B, and I'll show you guys the entire setup right now. Alright, so here's a brief overview of the setup here. Right from the get-go, if you've been watching my videos for quite some time now, it should be pretty obvious where some parts of this diorama came from. Like this terminal setup here, it's literally exactly the same at another one of my model airports. So like these two pieces right here, this right here, and that right there. I mean, I think you might be able to recognize them from another one of my model airports. But yeah, this is Newark Terminal B. I have most of it down, like I mentioned. So it's basically comprised of like 3 circular terminal buildings. Like you have one here, and then this is actually another circle right here. But I only have 2 of them. I didn't have a third one to put here, sadly, so I improvised with whatever I had. And this isn't even the full like terminal. There's actually a lot more gates on this side. So this part of Terminal B, it services Spirit Airlines, Alaska, and Delta, I believe. Spirit is on this side, and Alaska is literally like one gate right here. They're literally right there, and then I think this is all Delta. So it's kind of unfortunate because I really wanted to put Spirit and Alaska in here. Spirit actually just won a couple of slots at Newark. I think Southwest recently gave up a good amount of slots at Newark, and Spirit won all of them. So I think they're going to be starting like 18 new routes from Newark very, very soon. So Spirit is going to be having a huge expansion from Newark very, very soon. So as of now, Spirit uses like some of these gates on this side, and then Alaska's there, and then this is all Delta. So really wish I could have put that in here, but just like my DCA update last week, didn't have enough space. But it is what it is. So that's domestic airlines only. This middle building here, it's, from what I could tell, it's only United international arrivals and departures. I was looking it up on Flight Radar 24, and all I could see were United international flights coming in, and then departing to international destinations, and sometimes domestic destinations like LA or Boston. So yeah, that's really all I could tell parks at this middle terminal. And then this terminal here, I shouldn't say terminal, it's all the same terminal, but this building here, this is where you'll find some United flights, international flights, and then I think all of the long-haul international airlines, they use this terminal building. And Allegiant, for some reason, I don't know why they park here, but they do. So the gate breakdown, this is gates B60 to 68, so that's B60, 61, 62, 63, 65, I don't know where 64 went, but B65, 66, 67, 68. And then this one here is B51 through B57, if I'm not wrong. So this is B51, which I'm not sure if they use this gate. If I looked it up on Google Maps, and it's like GSE just covering this entire gate. So I'm not too sure if they use this right now, but B51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, and 57. And then this here is like B30 something through B47. I don't know what it is. But that's B45, that's B46A, B46B, and then that's B47. So that's what the breakdown is. So I personally have never been to Terminal B at Newark. I've only been to Newark actually 3 times. For those of you who know me, I go to New York a lot, like once or twice a year. I have a lot of family over in the New York area. Newark is actually the closest major, or not major, but the closest like huge airport to where most of my family lives, because I have a lot of family in upstate New York, and Newark is actually the closest one of the 3 major New York City airports to them. So ironically, I've only flown to Newark, or actually, yeah, whenever I go to visit my family in New York, I've only flown to Newark once, like on the trip. Like that was 2019. I flew United into Newark and back out from Newark. So yeah, but I've only been here 3 times. Like first time I came here was 2015. I was connecting through here, coming back from Aruba to Newark, Newark to Chicago. But I've only been to Terminal C because that's United's home turf here. Newark is their 3rd biggest hub, following Chicago and Houston. So Terminal C is United's home at Newark, and it's a huge terminal. I might try that sometime in the future. It's a huge terminal though, so I don't know if I'll be able to do it. But I've only been to Terminal C. And that's a nice terminal. It's not great, but it's not horrible. It's a decent terminal. I like it. But Terminal B and Terminal A, I've heard like horror stories of how bad these terminals are. Like you can just tell just by looking at this diorama, it's pretty congested. I've seen pictures and video. It looks like it gets pretty congested up in there. You can just tell. Like look at all these wide body planes and look at how small of a building that is. So I can only imagine how cramped it gets in there. But me personally, a lot of these flights that you'll see in this video, I've actually seen a lot of them. Like I said, I have a lot of family in upstate New York. My grandparents actually live, well, where they live, a lot of the Newark arrivals actually fly over their house. So they fly over like about 7,000 feet or so. You've probably seen some of those videos on my channel, but a lot of the Newark heavy, like international arrivals, they fly in over their house about 7,000, 8,000 feet. So they're not super close, but they're not super far away either. So for example, I've seen a lot growing up whenever I'd visit my family and my grandparents in upstate New York, I'd see always the SAS A330. This is a very, very, I had to put this in the update. The Scandinavian A330s, I always used to see these, and I hopefully still will when I go, when I'm there right now when you're watching this. And of course, I've seen Air India, actually, fun fact, my first time ever seeing the Lufthansa new livery was there. It was flying into Newark, and there's a picture right here. You can see that's the one I took. I took this picture of the Lufthansa new livery landing in Newark. I might have seen LOT, I can't remember. But of course, all the United heavies and 757s, I've seen them. I've seen TAP Portugal, Norwegian, British Airways, Aer Lingus. The list goes on and on. Even British Airways Open Skies, for those of you who remember Open Skies, that was like their, I don't know what they were for British Airways, but they used to fly from Paris Orly to Newark on the 757 and the 767. So I saw both of those. I've seen both of them before. And then of course La Compagnie, the boutique airline, they used to fly 757s from Paris Orly. I saw those as well, and they've recently retired the 757s, and they've started flying the 321neo, so I have yet to see those. But here's another thing, fun fact about Newark. I mean, it's much smaller than JFK. It's like, I think 40% the size of JFK, but it receives just as much traffic as JFK. So that kind of shows you just how compact, I shouldn't say compact, but how cramped, congested it gets at times. This particular airport update, there's no time frame. I just threw in whatever models I wanted to put in, and here we are. So it's kind of interesting what airlines fly to Newark, because there's a lot of airlines that fly to Newark that also fly to JFK. So you can see a couple right here, Air India, LOT, and Lufthansa. And I mean, United is irrelevant, but I mean, United has a hub here, but they also have like two routes from JFK, but that doesn't really matter. I'm talking about the international like airlines, like LOT, Air India, Lufthansa. They fly to both Newark and JFK, in addition to Aer Lingus and British Airways and Turkish and Emirates and Swiss and TAP Portugal. I'm forgetting a couple others, but it's interesting why they do that. If you think about it, this airport mainly serves New Jersey, upstate New York, and I guess some of Pennsylvania and whatever. JFK mainly serves like Long Island and the 5 boroughs of New York City, maybe even Connecticut and upstate New York, east of the Hudson River. Like my family, they live west of the Hudson River. So Newark is actually west of the Hudson River as well, so it's closer to them. But I guess like other communities like, White Plains, and that's close, White Plains and Yonkers and New York City, all the boroughs and stuff, Long Island, them being much closer to LaGuardia and JFK, it makes more sense for them to use those airports. Apparently Newark is actually closer to Manhattan than both LaGuardia and JFK, like by a couple minutes actually. So it's not that much of a difference, but that's interesting. It's across the river from Manhattan, but it's closer it's quicker to get to Newark from Manhattan than it is to get to LaGuardia or JFK. So I've heard. That's what United kind of bragged about at one point. But I'm not too sure if that's true or not. I think it's like 25 minutes to get to Newark from Manhattan as compared to like 27 or 28, 30 some minutes to LaGuardia or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so these airlines, they see a lot of demand at both Newark and JFK. So like Air India, for example, there's a huge Indian American population in New Jersey, in just New Jersey. Like literally New Jersey has one of the biggest Indian American populations in the US. So Air India is set for their Newark flight. So they fly to Newark from both Delhi and Mumbai. And then I think they only fly to JFK from Delhi. But then again, Long Island and New York City has a huge Indian population as well there. A lot Polish, I guess there's a huge Polish population. They have 3 destinations from Newark. Warsaw is seasonal, Warsaw is year-round, but they have seasonal service to Krakow and I was pronouncing it correct, one second.
In Polish, it is said as Rzeszów.
See, do you think, if you look at this, you take one look at this city name, you would not pronounce it like that. I was pronouncing it as Rzeszów, and it's Rzeszów. So, interesting how languages work. It's fascinating. But yeah, a lot Polish flies to Rzeszów and Krakow seasonally, and Warsaw year-round. And they fly to Warsaw from JFK as well. Scandinavian, I don't think they fly to JFK. I don't believe they do. But TAP Portugal, they do. Porto and Lisbon from Newark, and I think just Lisbon from JFK. And then British Airways, of course, is huge at JFK. For some reason, British Airways flies to Newark too. I don't know why. Aer Lingus flies to Newark and JFK. Turkish flies to Newark and JFK. Emirates, I don't know what Emirates is doing here, but Emirates flies to Newark and JFK. Swiss also flies to Newark and JFK. So I guess it just comes down to, there's demand both from Newark serving the west of Hudson, upstate New York area, New Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania, I don't even know what part of Pennsylvania, that's like northeast Pennsylvania, like near Scranton or whatever, but Newark has a good amount of, population to serve, and JFK has its own bag of population to serve. It's fascinating how these airlines come up with, what routes to serve. I've been rambling too long about this, I'm sorry. You're here to see some planes, so let's actually get started. We'll begin over here on this side. I have my routes here. I don't want to mess up. So starting here at B45B. Oh, so this is actually B45B. So there's a B45A would be right here, and this is B45B. So starting off here is a Delta A321, which is operating a Minneapolis St. Paul turn, flight 2606, in and out. From and to Minneapolis. Over here at B46A is a 737-900, which arrived last night from Atlanta as flight 416 and it remained overnight and is supposed to fly back to Atlanta as flight 858, slightly delayed though. Over here is a Delta Connection CRJ 900. Just came in. This is operated by Endeavor Air, by the way. Came in from Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, as flight 4982, and is going to operate flight 5467 back out to Raleigh in about an hour. And that's pulling into gate B46B. And pushing out of B47 is the CRJ 700, which is operated by Endeavor Air. It's normally it's a CRJ 900 in real life, but I only have one, so I had to put the CRJ 7 in. This is operating flight 5527 back to Cincinnati, Ohio, and it came in from Cincinnati earlier as flight 5021. So there we go. And there's a lot of Spirit in Alaska as well, so imagine that's there. Moving on to the central structure here at Terminal B. We'll start at gate B51. This is a plane I'm excited to show. I don't think I've ever shown this in an airport update before. Or no, I definitely have, sorry. This is the United 737 MAX 8 at gate B51. Came in from, this is a new route, actually just started up this summer, last month. Came in as flight 217 from Ponta Delgada in the Azores. So that's operated on the 737 MAX 8. Recently started as part of United's massive 2022 transatlantic summer expansion. I covered that in a video last year. Was it last year? Or, yeah, I think it was last year. The video linked above right now, I covered this route in that video, which is pretty cool to see it. You know, we're here a couple months later and it's operating, so that's really cool. So it came in from the Azores. It's going to operate flight 1267 out to Anchorage. Over here is the Star Alliance 757. I recently heard they repainted the 737-700 Star Alliance. That really is unfortunate. I really hope they don't repaint this one or any others. But this 757-200 just came in from Reykjavik, Iceland. That's flight 139, and this is an interesting one. It's gonna operate flight 402 later onwards to Boston. So I don't know why they do that, 757 to Boston. I think they also do it to DC, Washington Dulles as well, Newark to Dulles on the 757. That's really interesting how they do that. I'm not sure why, but they do. That's cool. Alright, finally, the Pratt & Whitney 777s, the Legacy United 777s, are finally back in service. And I've covered a lot of information about this topic in previous videos. But this one, 777-200ER, just came in from Barcelona, which is currently, I believe, it's exclusively operated by these Pratt & Whitney 777-200ERs. But it came from Barcelona as flight 121 and is going to be operating flight 2674 onwards to Los Angeles in a few hours. Alright, so that's the 777-200 at B53. Moving on to B54, we have the 787-10, which just came in from Lisbon, Portugal as flight 65 and is going to operate flight 124 in a couple hours out to Athens, Greece. And then next up over here at B55, we have the 777-300ER. Just came in from Brussels, Belgium as flight 998. And we'll be continuing, or not continuing, but it's going to operate flight 40 in a few hours out to Rome, Italy. And so the Brussels flight, I always saw this flight coming in when I was, whenever I'd visit my grandparents in New York. I especially remember the Brussels flight. Would always see that on the 777-200ER. But currently it's a 333, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Brussels always saw that flight coming in, which is really cool to replicate here. B56 is the 757-200 in the new livery. And here's another flight that I always used to see. UA37 just came in from Edinburgh, Scotland. So I used to see that one all the time, along with the Glasgow flight, and I believe Dublin as well, but I especially remember Edinburgh and Glasgow, Scotland. But it came in from Edinburgh and is going to operate flight 1450 to Los Angeles in a few hours. And at B57 is a United 767-300ER. Came in as flight 963 from Berlin-Brandenburg Airport, the new airport in Berlin, Germany. And in a couple hours it'll operate flight 236 out to Palma de Mallorca, Spain, which is another one of their new routes they recently started up this summer as part of their expansion plan. So exciting to put that one in here. Moving on to gate B60, this is the old livery 767-300ER. And speaking of the transatlantic expansion, I covered in that video a lot of new services to London. So this aircraft is operating flight 905 in from Heathrow, London Heathrow, and is going to operate flight 904 back out to London Heathrow in a few hours. So yeah, they have a lot of flights to London this summer. I think 22 daily flights United in total every day from the US to Heathrow, which is crazy. I can't remember how many it is from Newark. I think it's like 4 or 5 a day from Newark. I'm pretty sure it's all 767s. I could be wrong on that. I can't remember. And I don't know. I just why are they here? Allegiant A320 pushing out from gate B61, and this is operating the most random route possible out of the international concourse. It's going to Des Moines, Iowa as flight 802, and it came in, or no, sorry, 803, and it came in from Des Moines as flight 802. So they serve Des Moines from here. That's cool. Moving on to gate B62, I think it is, right? Yeah. Lufthansa flight 402 just came in from Frankfurt, 747-8, and it'll be operating flight 403 back out to Frankfurt in a couple hours. And this is one destination they serve from here. They also fly to Munich, I think. Yeah, Munich on the 350, I believe that's what that is. All right. Next up at B63. United 7879 came in from Delhi, India as flight 83, and later tonight will operate flight 188 out to Johannesburg, South Africa. That's a relatively new flight as well, in addition to Cape Town, South Africa. I think they started these routes in either late 2020 or early 2021. I think Johannesburg started up in like late 2020, and then Cape Town started up in like March of 21. Can't exactly remember, but South Africa, those are relatively new routes from Newark, so excited to put those in this update. Next up, Air India 777-300ER. This exact flight I actually have seen before. Came in as flight 191 from Mumbai. That's an early morning arrival. I remember I got up a couple of years ago. I woke up at like 6 a.m. just to film this arriving. Or flying over. So Air India 191 came in from Mumbai, now pushing back for the return flight to Mumbai as flight 144. So it's just getting the push back process started there. B60, what is that, B65? No, that's B60. This is B66. LOT Polish Airlines, Boeing 787-8 in the Polish Olympic team livery. This aircraft came in from Warsaw as flight 11, and will soon be operating flight 12 back out to Warsaw. And of course, finishing off with one of the biggest international airlines at Newark, Scandinavian. So over here at B67, the A350-900 just came in from Copenhagen, Denmark as flight 909, and it'll operate flight 910 back out to Copenhagen in a few hours. And then right here is the beautiful A330-300, which came in from Oslo, Norway as flight 907, and it's going to take it back out to Oslo in a couple hours as flight 908. So there we go. So Scandinavian is huge. They have, at minimum, I believe it's 3 flights a day to Newark. So they have 1 from Copenhagen, they have 1 from Oslo, and they have 1 from Stockholm, which is in Sweden. So they have 1 coming from Denmark, 1 from Norway, 1 from Sweden, and then on some days they'll have 2 from Copenhagen. They have the 350 from Copenhagen, and they also, at nighttime, they have the A321neo coming from Copenhagen, which is really, really cool. So I remember when I would visit my grandparents, and I would always see Scandinavian. So I would always think it's so cool seeing 3 Scandinavian 330s coming in every day. So I'd always see Oslo and Stockholm, I think. I remember Copenhagen as well, but I forget. There would be 2 of them that would come in one after the other, and then there would be another one that would arrive either really late at night or really early in the morning, or earlier in the morning or afternoon. I couldn't remember, but SAS 330 is very, very special for me because I always see these. I would always see them in Newark, and then you also have like a bunch of other airlines that I have seen as well. Air India, fun fact. Let me actually say this. So they currently serve Mumbai and Delhi right now from Newark on the 777. They actually used to fly the 787 here from London. Can you believe it? I think it was They did that route. Yeah, I think they started it like 2015 or something. They would fly the 787 from Amritsar to London, and then it would fly from London to Newark, and then they would go back Newark, London, London to Amritsar. So that was on a 787-8. I believe they ended it in, maybe because of the pandemic, because I saw that route, that flight back in 2017. So they might have ended it soon after that. But they did fly the 787 here at some point, and I have seen that. So just a cool, memory I thought I'd share there. And also another thing, I'm talking way too much, but PIA actually came to Newark at one point in 2020 on a repatriation flight. They were doing a lot of repatriation flights, sorry, in like June of 2020, just to repatriate Pakistanis back to Pakistan from the U.S. They did a couple to Washington. They did, I think, 2 or 3 to Newark, and then they did 1 to Chicago, which I went to go see it, obviously. And some of you might know that kind of didn't go as planned, but they did come to Newark. They flew APBGY, the 777-200LR, parked at this very gate, B68. They parked it right there. So there are pictures of it on Instagram and online and stuff like that. It's really, really cool that PIA came here. So that is Newark Terminal B for you all, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed it. It is currently like 1:15 a.m., but it is summer break, so I guess it doesn't matter. Really hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making this video, as you can tell. So many memories that I have of flights going into Newark and the airport itself. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed seeing all the pictures and videos that I was showing as B-roll footage. So that was Newark. Let me know what you thought of this diorama. It wasn't too accurate, especially that part, but we're not going to talk about it. These are the more interesting parts, obviously, with all the heavies, and that's what everybody likes. Everybody likes the heavies, especially the international ones. That's my favorite part of any international airport, just seeing all the heavies from all over the world, just the diversity and the world converging on one place. It's just really awesome to see. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I have to add, because there's literally so much that I want to say, but I don't know if I can remember it all. But I guess I gave you the brief rundown and rundown about EWR and whatever there is. So if I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. Again, let me know what you thought, how accurate this was, and if I was missing any details and whatnot. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm not too sure what the next video will be. I have a couple of aviation news videos that I would like to do. Currently, we're actually, I think, 3 subscribers away from 20,000. We've probably already hit it by now, so thank you all so very much. I can't thank you enough. I'm very, very grateful. I'm just so tired right now. I can't really express my gratitude. Let me know what you want to see for a 20K special. I probably won't be able to do anything till I come back from New York and finish up my finals. And then once I finish my finals, my dad and I are going to New Orleans for a wedding for a weekend. So that'll keep me busy as well if all goes to plan. But let me know what you want to see for a 20K special if you've made it this far. Plenty of great videos. I have a trip report coming out on Wednesday on Amtrak, so that's going to be exciting for you all. I'm really excited to show that video to you all, for those that even care enough to watch it. But that's it. I'm sorry for keeping you all this long. I think this was a good final update. Not final update, but final update for a while at least. I think it was a good way to end 7 straight weeks of airport updates off. So thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much for 20K. I love you all. You're amazing. Thank you so much for all your support and just everything. But take it easy, everyone. Take care. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.